gentlemen, I come from the Gilgit Baltistan region of Pakistan, which is in the extreme north. And today I'll be briefly talking to you about what tourism potential Gilgit Baltistan has. And I'll try to accentuate my argument with an example. And that the example is of a community-controlled trophy hunting program, which is bringing immense benefits to local communities and which is also encouraging sustainable tourism. This picture and this animal posing is actually dead, and it's a trophy hunting picture. The hunter that you see is a German hunter, and I'll briefly tell you what this trophy hunting is all about. Gilgit Baltistan region is, as you can see in the red colored area, it's in the top of Pakistan. Altogether a population of 1.2 million. It's a very poor region with a head count poverty incidence of 29%. The area is very sparsely populated, not more than 12 people per square kilometer. And so tourism is a major source of income for people in Gilgit Baltistan. Gilgit Baltistan has the three of the most famous mountain regions in the world, the Himalayas, the Karakoram, and the Hindu Kush, and they all confluence at a place in Gilgit Baltistan. We are home to the second highest mountain in the world, that is K2. We have more than 8,000 meters peak, more than 100 peaks over 700,000 meters, more than 5,000 glaciers, which is the biggest ice body outside the polar region, 2,200 square miles of snow-covered area, more than 100 lakes, 4 national parks, game reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, more than 200 species of birds, 54 species of mammals, species of freshwater fish, reptiles, amphibians, and of altogether 9% of the area is forest, which is home to biodiverse population of animals. Culturally speaking, there are 5 ethnic groups who speak 5 languages with 36 dialects. We are home to many distinctive buildings which have won Asia Pacific Heritage Conservation Awards, UNESCO Awards, more than 20 historical forts, polo grounds, archaeological sites, and more than 39,000 rock inscriptions. We are home to year-long festivals, indigenous music, and a centuries-old culture of hospitality and acceptance of visitors. And despite such a wonderful, beautiful area that we have, the tourist inflow, unfortunately, is very low. We attract as much as 60,000 tourists every year, out of which around 10,000 are foreigners and 50,000 are domestic tourists. And this is a considerably low number, considering that prior to 2001, we used to attract more than 150,000 tourists every year. And the reasons for such poor inflow is the negative branding of Pakistan, is a difficulty in access, lack of infrastructure, and so many other problems that we have. But despite this low number of tourists, we still have a program which is attracting people to Pakistan and which is helping our communities. And that program is the community-controlled trophy hunting program. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what trophy hunting is all about. Please do not confuse it with poaching. Trophy hunting is the selective hunting of wild animals. And this selective hunting of wild animals is also a wildlife management tool. That is, you control the population of wildlife which otherwise would exceed and put pressure on the local habitat. So the people who engage in trophy hunting, they keep the head or the skin of the animal as a trophy, and they pay lots of money to do so. Historically speaking, this trophy hunting started in Europe first, and from Europe it is now practiced in Russia, in Namibia, in Pakistan, many other places in the world. Even in the territory of Pakistan, this practice is in vogue since 1892, when the British were the colonial masters. And historically speaking, in 1934, President Roosevelt in America, he started a migratory bird hunting stamp scheme, wherein anybody who would hunt would have to buy stamps. And these proceeds from the stamps would go towards the conservation of the habitats, which would in turn encourage animals. In 1937, in America, they passed another act through which there is an 11% tax on trophy hunting material. And the amount of this 11% tax goes to the conservation of wetlands. And of lately, this amounts to more than $700 million in America. So this is big business for the government. This is a huge money for the conservation of natural habitat. Traditionally, the trophy hunting has been either controlled by the tribal elders or some families or the government. But this concept is changing, particularly in Pakistan, and this trophy hunting is now controlled by the communities. The animals that we have in Pakistan, which are the prey animals, are the markhor, and that's the animal that I showed you earlier, the blue sheep and the ibex. What would happen earlier was that people would hunt indiscriminately for meat. People would hunt indiscriminately for pleasure. And I have a small hunting log with me dating back to 1925, and it says that people would hunt more than 405,000 animals each year. So consequently, the population of such animals decreased to such an extent that in 2004, in just one of the national parks, the population of markhor was reduced to just 75. And the earliest data that we had of 1925, the population was more than 3,000 back then. But because of the trophy hunting program, the conservation is back on, and we have at least 1,200 markhor population in this particular national park. Because of the immense hunting that took place earlier, the government of Pakistan imposed a complete ban on hunting till 1992. And then the WWF and the IUCN, they came up with this noble idea that the communities should control the trophy hunting instead of the tribal elders, instead of the government, or instead of the selected families. The proceeds from trophy hunting should be divided between the communities and between the government, so the communities would have an incentive to save the animals. So the trophy hunting is basically that the government conducts a census of animals present in one particular community area, and based on the census, it gives a license of 3-4 hunting permits every year, and this hunting permit is then auctioned. The money that comes from this auction is divided between the community and between the government department, and the animals that are hunted are of more than a particular age, so no young animals are hunted. So out of a population of 1,200, 1,300 people, 3-4 animals are allowed to be hunted each year at a very heavy cost, and this money goes to the community. The community in turn has a responsibility, and the responsibility is that the community has to register itself as a community-controlled trophy hunting area, and every household in the community must agree to this program. The community then has the responsibility to ensure that no illegal hunting takes place, no illegal grazing takes place, and 30% of the revenue that they get from this program is then earmarked for conservation activities. So the community in turn develops a watch and ward system. It develops a regular wildlife population census. It monitors the grazing of other animals. It ensures that the livestock is protected by predators if, say a snow leopard kills a particular livestock, so the community then does not allow anybody to kill back the snow leopard. The compensation is paid to the affected family. And then it creates facilities to attract ecotourists. And the 70% amount, 30% goes towards conservation, and 70% of the amount that the community gets, it goes towards development of different infrastructure within the community. What does the government do in return? The government has to analyze the population of trophy hunting twice every year. It allows that only 1 out of 5 in the trophy range animals is hunted. It assists the community in developing feasible conservation plans. It monitors the trophy hunting program. It makes sure that no animal, except the one that is allowed legally by trophy hunter, is killed. It ensures that the community's interests are protected against the interests of the outfitters. It ensures that every household in the community gets benefit. It ensures that unbiased allocation of trophy hunting amount goes towards the community. Now, just to give you a very small idea of how much a license would cost. Now, I told you that 29% of the people in this area live on less than $1 a day. And these communities, for each license, the license fee is around $40,000. That is the reserve price. And if you auction, it goes as high as $80,000. And out of this $80,000, 80% goes directly to the community for conservation, for development. So just imagine the amount of money the community gets and how big the incentive is to ensure that no other animal is killed, how big the incentive is to ensure that the biodiversity is intact. So as of 2011, we have 24 registered communities as compared to just 1 in 1995, and 13 new communities have been registered in the last 4 years. These are statistics from some of these selected communities and the total income that they have. If you see the third bar, that is the KVO, it has earned as much as 22 million rupees so far out of community hunting program. And out of this money, at least 4 million was given to different households in community, 14,000 rupees per household. And this is enough for a household which lives under $1 a day. It is enough for a household which is already in the food very insecure bracket. Major amount was spent on their development activities to build water channels, to build schools, to build hospitals. 30% of this amount was spent on conservation, and around 1 million rupees was spent on other investments. So what are the benefits that we have got out of this program so far? The first is that we have, in a way, ensured conservation of biodiversity. The biodiversity does not mean only the animals that are hunted. It also means that the predators are protected. It also means that the forests are protected, which are host to these animals. It also means that the grazing lands are protected. It also means that the wetlands are protected. So there's a very high level of sensitivity within the communities to protect the biodiversity, because it in turn brings cash to them. The community has now developed their own mechanism of ensuring pasture management. They do not allow any illegal grazing because pastures are important to them. And earlier what would happen, that influential people, military officers, bureaucrats, politicians, they would go and they would hunt for pleasure. And now the community, since the incentive is so big, it stops them, and it makes sure that no other person is allowed to hunt other than the one who has the required permit. We have seen some tremendous development on the aspect of social organization. The communities have built their own community halls with this money, where they sit, they plan. Education indicators of these communities have improved. Mind you that we come from a country where female literacy is one of the lowest in the world. And some of these communities, out of this money, they are funding higher education for girls. So this is a very important development. They are also holding different agreements with rural development corporations and new hospitals, new clinics, they're coming up. With this money, the communities have built water channels to ensure that the agriculture is sustained and there is no unnecessary pressure on the pastures. This money, as I told you, is an immense tool towards poverty alleviation. 14,000 rupees, which is like $200 per family living in that community as a support to this program, is a huge money. And most important, the social attitudes toward conservation has changed. And ladies and gentlemen, about the rest of the money, the 20% that the government gets. Out of that 20% money, the government has also established itself. The Department of Wildlife, the Department of Hunting, the Department of Tourism, they've established themselves. So I believe that though this idea might abhor many people hunting, but then the benefits that the community gets, the benefit that the overall population of the animals get, they are too big to weigh against the disadvantages of such a program. So we believe that this is a very successful program. This program is bringing immense money to us. This program is bringing tourists to us. And this program is ensuring that biodiversity is conserved. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to take questions and answers.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We'd like to take two questions. What we'll do is if we can take them simultaneously and then you can answer, they might have common strands.
Sure thing.
We can take two questions, please.
Hi, Robert Saunders. Just a very quick and question out of pure curiosity. Could you address what the national mix actually of your trophy hunters are coming from Russia, China, Europe, the United States? So, just a quick question.
If we can take the second one. Any other question, please? Or you can, if you can address that one.
Yeah, the mix is that most of the tourists, most of the trophy hunters, they come from Europe, and that depends upon local regulations in the host countries. For example, the trophy of one particular animal, that is markhor, is not allowed in the US. So the US hunters have no interest in that particular. Although the WWF, the IUCN, they maintain a list that is called CITES, and in that list, they specify which animal is endangered and which animal is not endangered, and endangered animals cannot be hunted. So, but still, the US does not allow trophy hunting of particular animals, so there are less trophy hunters coming from US, more trophy huntings coming from South America, from Europe, and from Japan.
Hi, I'm Fanny. You kind of answered it, but I was just wondering how sustainable it is in the future. I mean, how the world trends are more going towards, saving the environment and vegetarianism and animal rights and all these things. Like, how do you see it? Is it really sustainable big business in the next 20 years?
Yeah. You see, it's as sustainable as it gets, because we do not allow any hunting that is outside the mandate of WWF, which is outside the mandate of IUCN. So this program has actually ensured that the population of animal increases. I told you, in 2005, in one national park, the animal population of markhor was like 75. Today it is 1,200. So means more trophy licenses next year. So the community has the incentive to ensure that the population of these animals, they grow. The more they grow, the more licenses they would get. So it's sustainable to us.
Thank you very much. Again, if we could kindly give the presenter another round of applause, please.
Thank you very much.